Good morning and welcome to New Mexico Rising, your go-to lifestyle show for everything happening right now across the state. I'm Kayla, and this week we've got this.
If you do get one of those calls or texts, hang up, right? And if it's a phone call, it's okay. If it's real, you're not going to hurt anyone's feelings.
That all men are created equal, that we are called to use that liberty for the good of those around us, for the good of our communities.
We have sun for days right now. It is beautiful.
All that and more right here on New Mexico Rising.
So what happens after you leave the biggest band in music history? For Paul McCartney, the end of the Beatles wasn't the end of the story. It was the start of a whole new chapter. Man on the Run from Oscar-winning director Morgan Neville takes us inside Paul's post-Beatles years, the launch of Wings, and a deeply personal decade that shaped his solo legacy. Morgan joins us today to talk about the film Paul McCartney, Man on the Run, which is now available on Prime Video. Welcome to the show, Morgan. How are you?
I'm very good. Good talking to you.
All right. The Beatles breakup is one of the most talked about moments in music history. What did you discover about Paul during that immediate aftermath that might surprise some of the fans out there?
I mean, so much. I mean, if you watch Get Back, Peter Jackson's kind of 8-hour version of the Beatles at the end, making Let It Be, you see Paul is driving everything. Songs are pouring out of him. And the question is, what happens the day that disappears? And what happens is that Paul has a true heartbreak. I mean, he's the one that wanted the Beatles more than anybody. And, you know, he essentially is told by John Lennon that John wants a divorce from the band. And Paul, within 2 weeks, runs off to Scotland with his new wife, Linda, and their new baby, Mary, and tries to figure out what he's going to do. Is he even going to make music anymore? And so these next few years, he really struggles. And that's the part of the story I don't think people really understand, you know, and that whole life of him trying to figure out who he was if he wasn't a Beatle.
So what was that period for him, like creatively and personally, and him trying to find himself?
It was in some ways, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. I mean, I think, you know, publicly, the public was angry that because they were heartbroken. So how dare you guys break up? Why can't you just be the Beatles? You know, what are you doing? And Paul's wife, Linda, takes a lot of flack for, you know, did she help break up the band? Same thing happened with John and Yoko. You know, there's just a lot of kind of anger, and the critics are saying, you know, your music isn't as good as what the Beatles were. You know, it was kind of an impossible shadow to escape, but that's Paul's mission. He has no choice but to try and escape it. So he tries and tries different things for years to kind of see who am I and what is my voice now as just Paul McCartney. And part of that then comes into fruition when he starts the band Wings. So it's the model he knows. I'm going to be in a band with some other people, and there's a camaraderie to it that makes me feel like I'm not alone. And through that, he finally starts doing albums like Band on the Run and becomes kind of more the Paul of who we know today.
And we also get to see some rare archival footage and a little bit of intimate family photography from Linda McCartney. How did those elements help you tell a more vulnerable side of Paul's story?
I mean, there's incredible footage we found. I mean, there's footage of Paul filming himself alone, writing songs at a piano, or with the kids, you know, and singing songs at Christmas time. You know, there is a real intimacy to the footage, and that's really the main thing I wanted to convey, that this is a story kind of from the inside out. You know, it's a story where we really kind of understand what Paul was dealing with and how he was dealing with it. And you see an insecurity in Paul that I don't think you really see publicly.
So what do you think the story tells about resilience and reinvention?
I mean, I think it's a story, and Paul's story is how not to doubt your own creative instincts. You know, I think, you know, the world always wants you to doubt what you do and judge what you do. And I think Paul's strength at this time is, I'm going to do whatever the hell I feel like. And that's fine. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, fine. And he does some crazy things that work and things that don't work. You know, he releases, you know, Mary Had a Little Lamb as a 45, which, you know, nobody particularly likes. But then he puts out Mull of Kintyre, which becomes the biggest selling single in England in history. So they're both kind of crazy ideas. But I think he was all about embracing the crazy idea at the time. So creatively, I think it's pretty inspirational.
And for some of the lifelong Beatle fans out there, or even some of the brand new fans that may just know Paul from today, what do you hope audiences may take away after watching Man on the Run?
I mean, I know because everybody tells me this, when you're done watching the film, you're going to go listen to a lot of music because there's a lot of music to explore. But also just an understanding that Paul's a real person dealing with real issues that are actually pretty relatable.
Morgan, I want to thank you for joining me today. Paul McCartney, Man on the Run, is available now on Prime Video. It's an intimate look at a music icon, redefining himself in real time, and it's a must-watch for any music fan. Morgan Neville, I want to thank you for joining me today.
Great talking to you.
Reality TV families come and go, but the Robertsons somehow turned beards, duck calls, and family chaos into a cultural phenomenon. Now they're back with Duck Dynasty Revival, following Willie and Korie Robertson as the family grows. The kids start their own lives, and the Duck Commander legacy just keeps evolving. The new season even opens with a tribute to Phil Robertson, while the rest of the clan brings plenty of the humor that fans remember. Joining us now are Willie and Korie Robertson. Great to see you both. It's great to see the Robertson family back on TV. What made this the right time to bring everyone together again?
Well, we kind of looked up and all of our kids were back. After the show ended in 2017, we had a really busy run, so we were ready to take a little break. And then all our kids scattered and went off to college and got married and all the things. And we looked up one day and all of our kids were here back home. We all live right there together on this little family compound, and our kids all work with us in some capacity up at Duck Commander within the warehouse. And so thought it'd be fun to kind of give the fans a little update into our life and where we are now.
When people first met your family, the kids were a lot younger. Now they're married, raising families, and starting businesses. What's it like watching the next generation step into the legacy?
Oh, man, it's been a blast. Yeah, for sure. We had, I think the main test was, do you want to be back on television? Because our kids had been on it. And so when they decided they would, we knew we didn't ruin them too bad. Well, watch them grow up, and our cast members have gotten way bigger because we have a lot more little kids and also all their spouses. And so, yeah, it's been fun watching kind of what they're going to do in life. And fortunately for us, they all ended up back here in Louisiana. And yeah, it's just been a joy. And then a lot of them have drifted to the office. And so, yeah, it's kind of, it's made for the kind of the next generation to see who's going to take it on. And, you know, I didn't take over Duck Commander until I was 30. Grew up in the business, never saw myself working here. When I was 30, that's when Korie and I came back and actually started working full-time for the company. So they're right about the age to where we were, and we're going to see who's next potentially to jump into the business.
Duck Commander has always been at the center of the show. How has the business changed as the next generation gets involved?
Well, we're still right here in our Duck Commander warehouse. We're still making duck calls right here in West Monroe, Louisiana. But now the family business has expanded quite a bit. Sadie's Live Original, her whole women's ministry is there. John Luke's into coffee. Bella's actually running our store and our museum. Will and Abby are back. Spoiler alert, Will and Abby made back this season. So everybody's right there, but everyone is doing different things.
The premiere includes a tribute to Phil Robertson. What did that mean to honor him in that way?
Yeah, it was kind of crazy because the week that the actual new series started, season 1, was the week that Phil actually passed away. And so it was literally a passing of the torch from Phil and that generation down to the next. And so we just thought it'd be awesome to start out season 2 honoring him. And we see some great parts of the show on there. I mean, it's like tons of real moments. And then also we had to kind of make it Robertson, and we had some tributes to Phil, some competitions like we like to do. Just a fun way to remember him, not only for us as a family as we go through the process of healing after he's passed on, but also for all the fans who's watched him for years and have really fallen in love with Phil and what he says. And yeah, to see him start off this in this show, it really was a tribute to the whole effort of even doing it. I mean, like Korie says, when we did that episode, it just felt like this is why we needed to come back and do the show.
Yeah, it was really special. The most special part to me was having Miss Kay on there. We actually got to sit down with an interview for her, and she got to just reminisce about Phil and what his life meant to her. So it was really, really special. I was nervous for her, but she did so good. And I know that we'll all be glad, our family will be glad to have that moment and that legacy captured.
There's also a sweet moment with Sadie welcoming her baby girl. What's it been like watching the family grow with all these new grandkids?
Yes, you get to see. It was really full circle season because it does start off with the passing of Phil and ends with new life being born. So there was a real passing of the torch in this season. Sadie actually found out she was pregnant the week we started filming season 1. Yeah. And then Kit comes into the world at the end of season 2. So yeah, you just get a lot of real life moments. I think whenever we all sit down as a family to say, like, what do we want this show to be? One of the words that all the kids said was authentic. You know, we wanted to bring people into our lives a little bit, let them see things that we're really going through, the good and the bad, and the fun. There's a lot of fun, and we laugh a lot, but that's kind of what it's all about. It's life.
And actually, since we've gotten through filming, we have had twins now. John Luke and Mary Kate have had twins, so which is our 10th and 11th grandchild. So grandchildren. So Corey's getting old. Corey's getting old.
And your family has always mixed humor with deeper conversations about faith and life. Why do you think that resonates with so many viewers?
Yeah, I think, I think our take in life is always tried to be not take ourselves too seriously. And so when you get thrust into the spotlight and the fame, I think you really kind of find out who you are and what you want to be and what you want to promote. And I think it all for us came back to what our core was, which was faith, which is why we even did the show in the first place. Was really just to potentially get the gospel out to more people, to have a bigger platform. And so I remember talking to Phil about that, and Phil was not interested in doing the show at all when we first pitched it to him. And we talked through how it could actually get the gospel out to more people. And we certainly saw that happen. Not just through the show and through having a positive show that everybody can watch, but also through the books that have been written, the podcasts that have been done, the movies that have been made, all the things that we felt strongly about to put out there, that we had a passion for. And when you mix that with fun and humor, I think it's just a great combination, because everything is so serious now, and the world's serious and it's tough, and there's problems and politically, and everybody is at each other's throats. And so I think Duck Dynasty was a great show for people to sit down and watch and just kind of take a break and go, let me just smile and laugh and think about more positive things.
When people watch this new season, what do you hope they take away from the Robertson family today?
I think we want people to just see real life and see that, we're not perfect. Nobody's perfect, but we do all come together at the end of the day, around the table. I think that moment of the original Duck Dynasty is still happening for our family. And so it's in this season as well, that moment where we come around the table together. We thank God for what we have. We thank God for our blessings, and we forgive whatever grievances we might have or whatever fights we might have throughout that episode or that week. But I just think that's really important. I think that's what resonated with people the first time around, to see a family that isn't perfect, but that loves each other, and to see people who put faith at the center of our lives. And that's who we are. It's what we do. It's what we've continued to do. And we hope that resonates with people.
Yeah, and I hope that they see how important our family is to us, and how much we intentionally pour into our family to keep us together, to share meals together, to share in each other's joys and bursts, but also the struggles and when you're down. And so that's the importance of family, and that's why we made the show, is actually for other families as well, so that they can have another time to get together, spark a conversation, and just really promote family. And so our family has always stayed together through it all, and so it's so important and vital. And I think this show would help, hopefully help families get a little smile, but also remember how important family actually is.
I want to thank you two for joining me today. You can catch Duck Dynasty The Revival on A&E, with new episodes airing Saturday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern. It's also streaming on the A&E app and at anetv.com. Willie, Korie, thanks for spending a few minutes with us.
Planning a Vegas trip can feel like a lot. Hotel, food, shows, everything adds up fast. Now there's a new all-inclusive option that puts it all into one upfront place. Sean McAllister is a Vegas expert and co-host of Vegas Revealed, and he's breaking it down for us. Welcome, Sean. How are you?
I'm fantastic. It's good to see you, Kayla.
It's fabulous to see you as well. So tell us about these new all-inclusive experiences and how exactly does it work?
Yeah, so up until now, we haven't really seen all-inclusive experiences offered on the Las Vegas Strip. MGM Resorts is changing that. They've just rolled out this all-inclusive bundle that includes your hotel, your dining, your entertainment, attractions, parking, resort fees. They've really taken the guesswork out of planning a Vegas vacation. They planned everything for you. All you have to do is sign on and get here.
And what are the highlights of this package?
So here's how it works. You go to mgmresorts.com/all-inclusive. You get to choose between a stay at Luxor Resort or the Excalibur Hotel and Casino. These are two resorts on the south end of Las Vegas Boulevard with great proximity to other resorts and amenities, attractions too. So once you choose where you're going to stay, then you choose where you're going to eat. You have breakfast, lunch, and dinner included in this package. Among the dining choices, the buffet at Excalibur and MGM Grand. So if you go hungry, that's kind of on you because you've got a lot right at your fingertips. There's entertainment rolled into this as well. You'll get a pair of tickets to your choice of 6 different residency shows, including a Blue Man Group. If you want to spice things up a little bit, there's Thunder from Down Under over at Excalibur. There's also Fantasy at Luxor, which is a great long-running show here in Las Vegas. So great entertainment options, Carrot Top, the Australian Bee Gees, and the Mac King Magic and Comedy Show, which is a great show for families, along with Blue Man Group, also part of the entertainment offerings.
You know, based off that, I'm sold. I might be getting some days off and seeing you pretty soon.
That sounds good. Well, listen, this is a great value because the package starts at $330 plus tax. However, if you break everything down, if you were to do your hotel, your food and beverage, your entertainment, if you were to buy that all separately, like you would on a normal vacation, this would cost you around $1,000. But having the price point start at $330 plus tax, incredible value, incredible way to experience Las Vegas in a really cost-conscious way. And by the way, we have sun for days right now. It is beautiful.
And who exactly is this package designed for?
You know, this package is great for anyone who wants to get away in a cost-conscious way. It's great for families. There's great entertainment offerings if you bring kids along with you. If you're maybe an empty nester and you have free time on your hands because the kids are out of the house, this is a great option for you too. And maybe even surprise the kids. Don't tell them that you're coming to Vegas and snap some selfies on the strip. Send it to them and see what their reaction is going to be. So it really is a great option for anyone who wants to get a taste of the best experiences that Las Vegas has to offer in a really affordable way.
And for those at home whose interest you piqued, myself included, where can people go to learn more?
Well, first of all, decide right now that you want to get out here to Las Vegas, then go to mgmresorts.com/all-inclusive. That's where everything begins. You can book your stay, check out your options, and then we'll see you out here in Vegas for some sun and fun.
Sean McAllister, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
You got it. Can't wait to see you out here.
There's a new film taking a look at a moment in history that doesn't always get a lot of attention, but played a big role in shaping our country early on. A Great Awakening focuses on the relationship between Benjamin Franklin and George Whitefield, and how that connection sparked something much bigger. Today, we're joined by director Joshua Enck Katie Miller from Sight and Sound. Welcome to the show, you two. How are you?
We're doing great. Thank you so much for having us.
Great to be here.
No worries. I'm a big film fan. This movie centers on the relationship between George Whitefield and Benjamin Franklin. So what stood out to you the most about that friendship and how that impact had on early America?
Yeah, well, I think what surprised all of us is the fact that they even had a relationship because, you know, you have arguably the most powerful evangelist of all time, Reverend George Whitefield, becoming friends with one of our most famous founding fathers, Benjamin Franklin, who obviously did not necessarily have or is known for a journey of faith, but they became best friends, and their partnership with George Whitefield behind the pulpit and Ben Franklin behind his printing press, propagating the sermons and the messaging of Whitefield and all of his whereabouts, that's what really sparked the 30 years of a cultural overhaul in this nation that became the Great Awakening. So we like to say there was a revelation before the revolution, and that was absolutely led by the partnership of these two men, Reverend George Whitefield and Benjamin Franklin.
And there you said it, that line, before the revolution, there was a revelation. How does that idea really drive the story here?
I think for me, when I look back at our history in our earliest years, it's really easy to think about the Revolutionary War and the writing of the Constitution and our founding fathers. But before all of that happened, George Whitefield stormed into America, igniting this idea of liberty in the hearts of all of the people in the colonies, all of the Americans, and this idea that liberty is found in Christ, that all men are created equal, that we are called to use that liberty for the good of those around us, for the good of our communities. And that is truly what stirred the hearts of the people towards the cry of the revolution. And in the same way for us, we believe that liberty cannot be something that is found in institutions or in governments. It really has to be ignited first in the hearts of the people, in our hearts.
And you say that one spark that started something much bigger. What do you hope audiences take away from that?
Yeah, exactly that. When we started learning about this George Whitefield, who was really unknown, but back at the time, he was an absolute phenomenon. But it started with one spark from him that ignited an inferno, which we know as, the Great Awakening. And so our hope is that this film, especially in this year of our 250th anniversary of our nation, we're really hoping this film will precede that and lay a foundation and give people a backstory as to, how we got here and our DNA and how liberty really shaped who we are as a nation. And so our hope is that they see this film and that they get equally inspired and that they themselves become one tiny candle that illuminates 1,000 and 10,000 and a million. So we're just really, really excited. The film comes out April 3rd, theaters nationwide.
All right, and for people that are at home watching, where can they learn more or maybe find the film themselves?
Yeah, so tickets are on sale now. Theaters all across the country. The best way to find information and buy your tickets is to go to agreatawakening.com.
Hey, I want to thank you two for joining me today.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Ever get a call or message that just feels a little off, but you're not totally sure? Scams are getting more convincing and more people are being targeted online and on their phones. Darius Kingsley is the managing director and head of consumer fraud and scam prevention at Chase, and he's here to help us spot the warning signs and protect ourselves. Welcome, Darius. How are you?
Thanks, Kayla. Thanks for having me.
So what are some of the most common scams people should be watching out for right now?
Yeah, right now, some of the scariest are what we call impersonation scams. So most of you probably will have seen or heard of these. It can be anything from, a fake phone call or text from your bank, or maybe a governmental agency. We're in tax season, like we all dread a call from the IRS, or maybe those toll road scams, right? State or parking tickets. So you think you're being contacted you think you're getting a phone call or a text message from that institution or from that agency, but it's not. It's a scammer on the other side of the phone, and they try to get you to act urgently. The other really big source of scams out there are social media scams. So look, we live, we shop, we buy things on social media. This is how we find, apartments. This is how we meet our dates. This is how we find last minute deals, concert tickets, things like that. Scammers know that. They're out there. They're selling things that aren't real. And of course, they're using AI these days to make things look really convincing in a way that we're not used to seeing.
And if someone gets a call or message that says that their bank or even the government, what's the easiest way to double check if it is real?
Yeah, listen, great question, because what I really urge people to do is if you do get one of those calls or texts, hang up, right? And if it's a phone call, it's okay. If it's real, you're not going to hurt anyone's feelings. If it's from your bank and you're worried it might be a real phone call, pull out your credit card, your debit card. There'll be a 1-800 number on the back of that card. Call that number up. If it's really real, they'll be able to figure out what the problem was and connect you to the right department. Similarly, if it's, your local sheriff's office because you had unpaid parking tickets and you're like, no, I didn't. Odds are you can call your sheriff's office up. So just hang up on the call. If it's a text, sometimes the scammers will include a phone number to call, right? Or click this link to chat with one of our representatives. Don't do it. Again, follow the same thing. Just ignore it and call your bank back or call that agency up. That's really the strongest way to stay safe.
And as you mentioned, a lot of people do scroll and shop on social media. So what are some red flags when it comes to fake listings or posts?
Yeah, so you do definitely want to be cautious when you're shopping for things, right? Scammers will often use a lot of the same kind of tactics as with impersonation scams. So it'll be, something urgent. Look, a lot of us want to, last minute concert tickets. These are going to go. I have an apartment for rent and I have people in it seeing it right now. If you want it, send me the money for your first month's for your deposit and first month's rent payment. So act immediately or you're going to lose this thing. So that's one of the ways they get you. Another big warning sign should be paying up front for something you haven't seen. You haven't seen that apartment or those tickets. And paying in an unusual way or off the platform. So, we need to be paid by gift cards, or I'll give you a deal if you pay me in crypto or something like that. Those are huge warning signs that it's probably not real.
And AI is kind of the talk of the town right now. How is that making scams more convincing, and what should we be looking for?
Yeah, well, scammers are using all these same tools that we see. We see these, deepfake videos, and some of them are kind of amazing. So scammers kind of use the same tools. So they'll, the emails, the texts that you get, they don't have all the typos and misspellings that they used to have, right? And they'll often reference real places. Scammers are also using AI tools to kind of match up public information about you. So sometimes you'll get contacted, by your bank, and they'll read out your address and your full name, and you're thinking, wow, this is probably really real. They seem to already know a lot about me, but it's just the scammers using these tools to quickly pull already out there public information about you. It definitely makes it harder to tell what's real and what's not, which is why I always go back to it's okay to, not buy that thing. Or hang up on the person you're talking to, or, and call back at a number that you can find on that company's website.
And where can people go if they want to learn more or maybe keep themselves protected?
Yeah, so all of this information that we just talked about, as well as a whole lot more, a lot of other different kinds of scams out there, it's all available on our website. We have a security center. It's chase.com/security. You don't have to be a Chase customer. You can see all of this information. It has other helpful tips on there as well, like how to set up a family password and why you should have one. It also has really helpful information because, look, unfortunately, sooner or later, most of us will fall for a scam some way or another. Hopefully it's not a lot of money, but what do you do? What's the right steps? Who do you call? Should I lock down my accounts? How do I do that? All of that is on this website. Again, it's chase.com/security.
Darius Kingsley, you are a hero. I want to thank you for being here today, my friend.
Thanks, Kayla, for having me. Stay safe.
And that's going to do it for this week's episode of New Mexico Rising. Thanks so much for being here with us today. Be sure to check out our website at newmexicorising.com, follow us on social media at New Mexico Rising, and head over to YouTube at NM Rising to catch anything you might have missed. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next week on New Mexico Rising.